Allie here from The Filmmaker's Wife. I hope that you had a chance to watch part 1 of this series. If you didn't, well, that's okay. I forgive you because this part is phenomenal. What I'm about to show you is footage that I took during an interview I did with a composer from LA who's also an old friend of mine from high school. If you're a composer or if you want to get into composing, this video is a must watch all the way through. Watch the whole thing. It's great. I'll see you on the other side. Okay, hey, so like I said earlier, we took a trip out to Burbank to visit an old friend from high school, and here he is. Say hello to Brenton.
How's it going?
He's got some really, really cool stuff to show us on his computer about how he does what he does. I'm gonna let him tell you about that, so here we go.
The program that I use to compose is Logic, and then tied into Logic is a network of digital instruments that allow me to simulate a full orchestra or a rock band or whatever sort of instrument set I need to do my job. And what Allie has kind of asked me to do is just show a little bit of my process and kind of how it works. So I'm gonna just build something small here for you. And I grew up playing piano. And so whether or not the scene that I'm working on calls for piano or not, I always start there because that's my most comfortable instrument. So even though I don't have a film clip necessarily up right now, it always starts with me watching the scene and finding out what is taking place. What sort of music do I need to be writing to complement this scene? And the most important thing about any scene from a music perspective is the tempo. How fast is the music going to be? And finding that is almost more important than the music that you write because it's going to establish the pace of the scene. One of the coolest pieces of advice that was ever taught to me was from Mike Post when I was doing the Law & Order, and he told me to look out for that tempo. And the way that he described it to me was pretty cool, where he said, when a scene is being shot, the actors are acting to an internal tempo. Whether they know it or not, whether that's something that they're consciously thinking about, there are beats that they hit during that scene. And then once the scene has been shot, the editor is also editing to a tempo. Again, whether he knows it or not. And it's our job as the composer to lock in to that tempo. So we're going to pretend, for the sake of today, that we already know that tempo. I'm going to have my program here give me a little metronome click. So this is a pretty slow tempo here, which might suggest that the scene that I'm working on is kind of sad. So now it's my job to just kind of come up. I always start just by doing like a little doodle, and you kind of have to find your way. So we'll make something kind of simple here right now. So let's see what we can do. And wrong notes happen, always, especially in live. So now that I kind of have my idea, maybe, now it's time for me to record that. So I've got my piano instrument loaded up. I'm going to hit record, and I'm going to play this to time now. There's my wrong note. So the nice thing about this program is if you do happen to play a wrong note, because this isn't live, I can go in and fix any of these mistakes. So I played a major chord when I was supposed to play, or I played a minor chord when I was supposed to play major. So I'm going to fix those notes. Let's see if that makes it sound right now. One more wrong note in there. Cool. So I have my piano doodle. Now is when I want to start loading up all of the other instruments in the orchestra that are going to help me make this scene. So maybe I want the violin section to mimic what was going on in the piano for the melody line. So I'm going to load up my violin instrument. I have to wait for my hard drive to spin up. because these guys take a lot of space on the hard drive. There we go. And then we're just going to lay that in. So we just loaded it in, and that's what we do, is we go line by line. So I would just keep going in, add one instrument after another. So maybe I'll throw in like some basses, some bass notes here. Nice low notes to really round this out. Another wrong note to fix there. I forgot what I was writing. But that's cool. And that's pretty much a super short version of kind of how I might put something this together, is you just kind of piecemeal it until it sounds exactly like what we want.
How long does it take you to do like a minute of music with a full orchestra?
Yeah, you know, it always varies. Where if the scene is like in this example, this is a pretty sad scene, and so it's slow, in which case there's going to be a lot of long notes, a lot of swells, and those tend to go a lot quicker because you don't have to generate as much unique material for that scene. But if you're doing something very involved, like a comedy scene or an action scene, where the music needs to not only be a provocative piece of music, but also line up with certain things that are going on in the visual, then that can really slow the process down. So where in this example, doing a minute's worth of music might only take between 30 minutes or an hour, a minute's worth of action or very involved music could take 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on how involved the director and producer want this scene to be. So it can it's always a unique experience. Everyone is different, depending on what is called for.
Can you play it back?
Yeah, let's play back kind of what we made here.
Wow, beautiful.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? In just a couple seconds, it's like, bam, gold. So yeah, that's all from Brenton, and thank you so much for doing this. Yeah, where can people learn more about you?
You can. I do have a website, brentoncosta.com.
I will link it right there.
Excellent.
Well, thanks so much. This is
Thank
Brenton.
you.
Met him in high school and just reconnecting here in LA for the first time in what, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, it's been a long time.
6 years?
Right?
It's been a really long time. So anyway, this is all for The Filmmaker's Wife, doing some behind the scenes with some local filmmakers, and I will touch base again soon. So this concludes part 2 of this special guest series. Let me know in the comments below if you think that I should invite more guests on to The Filmmaker's Wife. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, that you share it with all your friends, and of course that you hit that lovely subscribe button so I can see you again in the future. Bye!